a real thing for me.
But
It's
what
a
can
thing
you
for
do
other
differently
people.
in that fight that Spence couldn't do?
Everything that you stated, my man. I mean, I can set up traps. You know, so one thing Spence did, he was fighting a southpaw versus a southpaw, and the one thing that obviously we saw that he didn't have an answer for was just that jab. He didn't have an answer for that jab, and his initial response to the jab was to duck on this side, and then as he ducked here, then the straight left came down like a hammer. He was double jab, boom. He said, "Oh,
Yep.
you want to drop down, bop bop, boom," and he was kind of throwing this almost dropping, this clubbing punch of a left hand. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm a right-handed fighter. So if I do my duck, first off, my duck would end up on this side,
Hmm.
right? And then he
The
would
one
have to
hand.
straighten out his left hand. That's not an issue. But also as I duck, and if he tries to drop it back down, I can pull back up,
Ah,
right? I can duck down and pull back up. Spence's feet, you know, I was being playful. You know how I am with my rhymes and stuff. Right after the fight, I was saying my face, it won't look like that. Why, Keith? Why? Because my feet ain't flat. Okay. Now there's a lot of clowning, there's a lot of playfulness in there, but what you have to understand is that there's also truth.
I seen
Okay.
that. I felt the truth. I did.
There's also truth in that. Okay. My feet are not flat. When Errol was ducking, he was ducking and he was stuck. He was stuck in his duck. you know. Um, so, like I said, I'm a right-handed fighter, and right-handed fighters, I'm not gonna duck to this side to slip the jab because when you're fighting a southpaw, as that jab comes, I'm gonna want to have my foot on the outside. The footsie games when it comes to right-handed and southpaws. There's a footsie game happen,
Yeah.
right?
Got to
So
be on
there's a
that
big
side.
chess match. You put me and Crawford in the ring. There's a big chess match. Positioning, speed, power, in and out. Who can have the position? Who can have the dominance? Who can set up what, when, how often, how easily, how difficult is it? Boom. There's going to be a war of the feet going on because of the southpaw and the right-hander
Who can
until he wants
stop
to
first?
fight me right-handed. If he chooses to fight me right-handed, then the footsie game ain't happening. But if he feels comfortable, he feels dominant from his southpaw position, we can have a big footsies match, right? Boom. Get that foot on the outside. Then when that jab comes, I'm not going to want to duck down over here. I'm going to want to take this side. Why do I want my left side?
Right hand.
Because his jab is a right hand, and you want to trade that right hand whop, with your right hand. Bop. And that's the formula. So not only do I know the technique, I have the capacity to at least
Implement.
attempt at executing the technique, which just seeing someone attempt that is going to look different than what you saw with the Spence fight. It's going to look
Adjust.
completely different.
You might be able to
My
adjust.
outside movement, my inside, my playfulness, working my uppercut, my hooks, the different angles that I play with. It's just going to be a completely different fight. It's going to be a completely different challenge that's brought to the table. And that's why I like the fight.
I agree.
We saw what he did. We saw what he did to Sean. But how quick was Sean willing to retire after that fight? What does that tell you about his mental state before the fight? I lose this fight, I'm going to announce my retirement. Going into this fight that it's most likely your last fight. Like, what do you mean? That's a mental thing. So the one thing that people don't understand is they don't understand my dedication to the game.
Mm.
You know, I get it. You ain't seen me. I'm not around. I haven't done what I shoulda, coulda, woulda done, for myself and for you, the people, the fans, the media, you know. But in my heart of hearts, I'm still here. In my
Right.
heart of hearts, I bear no fear. In my heart of hearts, I'm all fight. I if anybody, it's hard, man. We see a new generation coming up. We see a lot of the old generation want to leave, but I feel like I'm one of the few of this older generation that's happy to be here, happy to stay here, happy to grind it out for a long time. I want to continue to shine, and I mean that's just how I feel. There was another another thing that they caught when I was heading out of Vegas. I had the blessed opportunity to go to Texas and to be with my guru for a 1-day seminar, and they caught me real quick on a little flick talking trash on the plane. There was some people from Vegas, fight fans, everybody who was at the fight leaving Vegas Sunday early, 6 a.m. flight. Bye, Felicia. We out. Vegas. We out. Fight night happened. It's over. Boom. But I'm on the plane early morning. I'm snacking on some chips. I'm like, but we talking the fight, And I tell people, look, man, Keith Thurman might have lost to Pacquiao. This is a reality. I have a loss on my record, but that's an L. That's an L. And let's be honest, I barely lost. So that's a BL. If I'm going to use all my alphabetical letters, that is, okay? It's a BL I took from Manny Pacquiao. An L nonetheless. But what did we see when we saw Crawford fight Spence? Boy, you got a big old D. You got defeated. The undefeated has now been defeated. Look, this statement might not make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. Keith Thurman has 30 wins, 1 loss, 22 knockouts, and still undefeated. It might not make sense to you. It makes sense to me, and that's okay. So they caught that comment on tape. You know what I'm saying? Put it up, But this is how I feel in my heart of hearts. Who defeated Thurman? What? Who done what? Who done defeated this Thurman? You know what I'm saying? I would have done 15 rounds with Pacquiao. We could have fought to the sunrise. No one's defeated me. No one's taken the fight and the spirit of the warrior out of my heart.
Yeah.
No one's broken me.
Yeah. Nobody beat your ass, basically, what you're saying.
That part. That part. You know what I'm saying? Because these hands, they hit back. They hit back. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's got in the ring with Thurman and hasn't gotten patted back, or just patted on in general.